Good afternoon, friends, family, foes, brothers, and others. It's your boys from Table 5, John J., Adam Fuller. How you doing, Adam?
Pretty good, pretty good. You know, trying to get this show going.
Keeping it pimping. I hear you, Playboy. I ain't mad at it. Anyway, yeah, this is the home improvement edition. I know you guys hear the wind chimes in the back. Got your boy out here digging ditches and whatnot, but still finding enough space to provide a little time in sports talk. As always, my man Adam coming with a colorful insight. Me, I just try to keep it topical, non-stopical. Anyway, man, first topic, let's dive right on into it. You wanted to give some local shouts?
Yeah, quick local shout-out. You know, Game 7 tonight, you know, Kings and Sharks, you know, SoCal, NorCal, you know, Kings trying to defend their title. They're up 3-2 in the series. You know, Sharks tied it up, but Kings have home ice, so, you know, we'll see if they're able to, you know, get back to the, you know, advance, and they will face the winner of the Blackhawks and the Red Wings. So we'll see how that goes, you know. Guess you want to see the local team do good, so go Kings. And then as far as local high school, I mean, most of the playoffs are over, but semifinal game, girls softball, Milliken and Lakewood, they actually play against each other. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. And also, quick MLB update, you know, just, you know, Angels and Dodgers, first game was last night. Dodgers were able to come back and get that one, and then they actually play tonight. They played 2 at Dodger Stadium and 2 at Angel Stadium. I kind of like the idea of, you know, playing 2 in your home ballpark and then turn around, play 2 in the other team's ballpark. Like, same thing with the, you know, the Giants and A's are doing the same thing. I think the Mets and Yankees are doing the same thing. So, and also Orioles and Nationals. So that's pretty cool, you know, to do it that way. I think it's something unique, something different, you know. So you kind of keep the series going, but then you know, change venues. I think that's a good idea. But, yeah, that's about it. Shout-outs and everything, yeah.
Okay, well, definitely the shout-outs come in, shout-outs go out. Me, I want to give a shout-out to my cousin Pookie and Ray. I'm just playing. Anyway, man, let's dive right on into this. First half of the NBA Finals is already set. San Antonio. Look, here's the crazy thing. I'm trying to sit on real quick, man. Some kind of fun. Go ahead and try to dwell on for 2 seconds, man. It was something that was bothering me. I was listening to some of the coverage that was being billed for the NBA Finals, and everybody seems to have this sort of I don't know. I think what I'm driving at is that what bothers me more than anything about the media is that the false expectations that they put on certain teams. I don't know if the media likes the San Antonio Spurs or not. But what I do know is I heard something ridiculous, man, the other day. And I keep hearing it. Well, this is the Spurs' first trip to the finals since '07. You know, this and that and the other, and it's their first trip since '07. Hello? Some teams never get there. So it's almost as if nobody picked San Antonio at the beginning of the year. But now because they're there, there's like this false expectation, like, ho-hum, it's no big deal. They should have been here. Oh, they haven't been here since '07 anyway. You know, like they were supposed to be here last year. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't understand. Again, it goes back to that old adage that I think sports has become. To whom much is given or much is achieved, it seems like you expect more of that person than the person who hasn't done it yet or the team who hasn't done it yet. I don't want to get too confusing in my point, but I think what I'm basically trying to say is that this is Tim Duncan's attempt at a 5th ring. Unprecedented for, you know, some new age guys. I mean, you think about it, with the exception of like Kobe and Derek, you know, nobody else is really walking around with 5 rings, even 4. And I think that 2 things that's kind of bugging me about it is, number one, you know, so let's start covering this San Antonio team and giving them more credit than we're giving them, and giving them a little bit more coverage than we're giving them. and stop brushing them off as, you can't have it both ways. In other words, on one hand, you're saying, well, yeah, they made it to the NBA Finals, but they haven't been there since '07. Hey, give them credit for being there. That was only 5 years ago. This is Tim Duncan's fifth ring. You know what I mean, is my point starting to crystallize now? I think the point I'm trying to make is that it kind of pisses me off that when the media talks about this is not a sexy series or that's not a sexy series or nobody's going to watch, it's because the way you cover it. It's the way you hype it up. If I tell my man Adam, I got a blind date for you, and and I'm just down talking her the whole time, you thinking I'm going to show up with a damn moose. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like if you're gonna tell me how unsexy this series is, but then yet you're going to just brush off the fact that they're in the NBA Finals because they haven't been there since '07. So it's kind of like their first trip since '07. They're supposed to be there anyway. Whatever.
Right.
Stop.
Well,
What I'm, yeah.
Well, yeah. The main thing is the Spurs in their franchise history, they're 4-0 when they make it to the finals. They won 4 championships and haven't lost. So, I mean, that'll be on the line. For some reason, odd years, they actually win championships. 99, 2003, 2007. Hey, it's 2013. We'll see what happens. Another storyline, if they end up playing the Heat, well, this is the only team to ever beat LeBron in the finals. Even though it's a different team, different franchise. But, and then that was 6 years ago, their last time being in the finals. And, LeBron changed his number to number 6. But, yeah, anyway. But, like you said, it's not easy. I think just, expectations on them, they're just so consistent every year as far as winning, 50-plus games. It seemed like, every year you can count on San Antonio being right there. I think just the past couple of years, their core guys have been there. They've been kind of banged up. But then now they got some young guys, Kawhi Leonard, Corey Joseph, Gary Neal, Matt Bonner, and, 1 or 2 other guys that are young guys making impact-type players that are splitter, taking the pressure off of Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili, and they didn't have that since probably '07. That was the last time, they were a little bit younger, the core guys too, a little bit more healthier, but they haven't had that type of role play since, '07, and I think, they finally, put it all together, they draft well, and get guys to fit into their system, and Popovich is a great coach, no doubt. So, yeah, you gotta give them credit. They're quiet, they go about their business, they go out there, not a lot of, media attention, but they seem to always be competitive and be right there at the end.
Well, the interesting thing, too, is as I was talking to a cat this morning, and he said to me, look, the reason why he thinks that the Spurs don't get their run is because they're boring.
Yeah.
And
well, it's kind of like the New England Patriots. I mean, you got one, star player, and then the rest of the guys just fall in line. And Belichick, he's similar to Popovich, a man of, he's very vanilla, in his answers, and then also, his personality is very vanilla. He's, real plain and straight to the point, not a lot of, animation. So, those two franchises are, very similar. Yeah.
And yet all they do is win.
Right.
So you really tip your hat to a team like that. I just that was kind of just on my nerves this morning because I kept hearing people saying it as if like, okay, so you don't want to give them credit for being in the finals again. So the way you knock it down is by continuously saying, it's their first trip since '07, as if, they were supposed to get here last year and they didn't live up to expectation. I find it interesting sometimes how the media words things to either turn you off or to turn you on. You know, as far as do they have a dog in the fight, I'm not sure. I know the LeBron matchup, you know, obviously for the media is a sexier cover. You know, maybe, you know, obviously LeBron going for his second championship. You know, they're heavily favored in Vegas and the odds makers and all that other stuff. So at the end of the day, you know, you kind of have to wonder, how this thing is going to play out. Indiana obviously is not dead yet.
Right.
You know, I'm surprised that Memphis went down in a ball of flames like they did. But, you know, again, San Antonio is very solid, man, very fundamental, very solid. You know, and again, I think that, you know, Tim Duncan really needs to start getting his credit and his due as one of the best big men that ever played the game because, again, when people go into the Shaquille O'Neal most dominant ever, you know, thing, and they go into the most dominant ever and this, and they praise Shaq because he's so dominant and yada yada. But you skip over a guy like Tim Duncan because
he wasn't. You know, he's not consistent. I mean, he's not dominant, but he's consistent. That's the thing.
Super consistent. And when I say consistent, I mean like the dude. I mean, what if he only missed the playoffs once or twice in his career, if ever? I don't think he's ever missed the playoffs. I'll have to check that. But they have a system, and you're right. They're crazy, like similar to the New England Patriots because they have a system that just seems to work. The system works. They plug in, you know, Bozo the Clown, it seems like, and they get it done. They win. You know, but again, when you look at their team and what they're composed of, their big three is as good, if not better, than any big three we've seen in sports. Ginobili is downright a killer in his own right. Think about Ginobili. He won a gold medal with his country's team in the Olympics. The guy is no slouch by any means. He's got 3 championships. He's not a true six man. Everybody knows that. He comes off the bench. He's an assassin. Tony is just now starting to get recognized. You know, how many 10, 12 years in the league. He's just now starting to get his recognition as one of the best point guards in the game, which, you know, what the hell took you so long? You know, but again, that's, you know, he's French, and, you know, I think a lot of that plays into it, you know, absolutely, where, you know, you're more famous for being married to Eva Longoria than you are for winning championships. You know, it says something about our media, in my opinion.
And the last time they won, he was the Finals MVP, not Duncan.
Thank you.
Back in 2007.
Thank you. So right. So what the hell exactly are we talking about? You know, when we sort of talk about this team as not being, you know, a sexy pick, or we talk about this team as sort of being blasé and whatever, that needs to be celebrated because the high sign, the high flash guys are always burning out. What happened to J.R. Smith, the sixth man of the year, and Carmelo in New York? You know, what happened to a lot of these Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant? That was like the consensus. Oh, they're going to meet the Heat in the finals. No, man. And I know nobody saw Russell Westbrook going down, but again, in my opinion, that's why you need to stop putting all your eggs in one basket when it comes to these teams at the beginning of the year. That's just my opinion. Stop doing that.
Well, I mean, you know, it's similar, you know, similar situation to what, you know, happened with the Celtics win in 2008. You know, Garnett gets hurt in 2009. Then, the Magic end up in the finals. They end up beating the Celtics, and they also beat the Cavaliers to make it to the finals to play the Lakers. So, I mean, you got to take, injuries are part of sports. And I know a lot of people probably say, oh, well, if, Westbrook is healthy, maybe Oklahoma City comes out of the West. But, hey, I mean, you got to take and make your own breaks. You take advantage of what's put in front of you, and the Spurs did that. They took care of business.
Absolutely. And don't begrudge them for it. Don't look at them as sort of like, whatever. don't look at them as as passe. I mean, it's not a sexy pick, but, what do you want to do? You want to look sexy or you want to win? And I think that's where we kind of are in sports nowadays, where, you have a lot of people who, will quickly and eagerly answer that question like, hey, well, I want to be sexy. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, you also want to be broke and not have any rings. So, hats off to the Spurs. I think eventually Miami will get it done, but I'm just not sure. Again, I think Dwayne Wade. I think a lot of people who, kind of scoff at me who say because I don't believe he's a Hall of Famer. I don't. I'm going to stick to my guns on that. I do not believe Dwayne Wade is a Hall of Famer. And I think that he has enjoyed the mass benefit of being even put into the category of great. I don't want to say Batman and Robin because I don't really like the term, but I think he's enjoyed a great benefit of having a superstar come in and just elevate his game to a top level, and you sort of sit back and kind of take some of that credit, and a lot of that credit, in fact, with some of the people who don't even like you. I mean, so, you still have some people out there, in my opinion, who are blasphemous when they say, oh, he took the easy way out. And the interesting thing about that is you even called that one where you said the easy way out would have been to stay in Cleveland. That was the easy way out, not go to another team where there's going to be even more pressure on you to win, not go to a team that, Dwayne Wade wasn't playing at a championship level, but they had won a championship within the previous 4 or 5 years, number one. And number two, Chris Bosh, another solid anchor-type player, was going there. So you're right. I mean, the easy way out would have been to stay in Cleveland, languish, mediocrity, do nothing, sort of pick up your check, going to the Hall of Fame. But that guy wanted to win. So when people come with this unfair criticism of, well, Michael Jordan never joined another team. Well, first off, Michael Jordan never had to, because Michael Jordan had the benefit of a Scottie Pippen. And I would charge you or anybody else to please find me the Scottie Pippen in Cleveland. Because I didn't see him.
No.
I thought, no. Hell no.
It was tough to find a Tony Kukoc.
Yeah. Hell, oh, come on. Come on, you're talking about Tony Kukoc, a guy who, he won't be in the Hall of Fame, but he's considered by many, including myself, to be one of the greatest European players ever to play the game. I think Tony was an all-time great European player. And it was so cold because if you look back to the story of the Dream Team, I know you saw it on sports, the ESPN and all that, when they had the Dream Team and all that. Michael and Scotty kind of handpicked Tony. They abused him in the Olympics because they knew he was going to be good, and they said, let's go ahead and run him. So they know. So again,
but I think again back to the Heat and Pacers series, I think the Pacers are gonna win tonight. I just got a feeling they're gonna step up, home crowd, get this win tonight. But then I still think the Heat will win in 6. I think they'll win Game 5 and Game 6. But I could be wrong. But that's what I'm feeling.
But I guess the reason I brought up the whole him quote unquote the easy way out and all that, and I guess the reason I brought up the quote of or the feeling that I think that Dwayne Wade has gotten a tremendous path is because I feel like that in this series he really hasn't gotten consistent help from Wade or Bosh. The other night it was Mario. And it was, and Norris Cole and Haslam, the old veteran. And it's funny because if Udonis Haslam has to save you, you got some issues anyway because, again, we talked about it earlier, they're not a heavy role-playing team. They're a star-laden team, which means if their stars don't do well, we're not going to win.
If one of them doesn't show, because right now, San Antonio, they're right now, I think they're playing the best team basketball, kind of like how the Mavericks are playing, when they played the Heat. But I still think the Heat role players are better. I think the Heat role players are better than they were back in 2011 when they played the Mavericks. But right now, I say the Spurs, they know what they're doing. They know their team chemistry. They're on a better roll. So we'll see how that plays out if they end up playing each other.
So
will Ray Allen, will Norris Cole, will Udonis Haslem, show up in the finals, or and I'll play guys like Kawhi Leonard and Corey Joseph and Gary Neal off the bench, Tiago Splitter, those type of guys.
So in your estimation, championship, Spurs or Heat?
I'll still go with the Heat. Probably 6-7 games.
Really? That's interesting to me, man. As shaky as the Heat have looked, it seems like everybody still continues to go with them. I'm picking the Spurs in 6. I'm sticking with that pick. I actually picked them before the season started because I knew that the Lakers weren't going to get it together, and I knew that the Spurs would be probably the only consistent team coming out of the West. I still thought they were better than I still thought they were better than Oak City, even post even before Westbrook went out. I really did, and I'm not saying I bet money on them. I'm just saying I had more belief in that team because Greg Popovich, man, dude is a magician. Greg Popovich is really something else. How he can take a team and just plug in different guys and just make that system work. Just make it work. I mean, it's like you don't really, you can't, it's like Bill Belichick's teams. You can't name 5 guys on that team that would go on and be all-stars anywhere else. Can't name 5 guys on that team that would go and, with the exception of I think Tony could be an all-star, obviously, somewhere else in Ginobili, but past that, man, past Duncan, because even Duncan, I think if Duncan doesn't get that kind of consistent play out of Ginobili and Parker just on the top, he's not going to consistently come in and save games for you. That's not what he does. So I think they're all kind of reaching into the fountain of youth right now and finding a way to make it happen.
I think there's rest. I think they need to rest more in Miami, no doubt.
Oh, yeah, 10 days.
I think they'll know how to handle the rest, too. I don't think they'll be rusty or anything like that. I think they'll be ready to play.
10 days. 10 days, dude. That's a long time. 10 days is a long 10 days is a long time.
The final start, June 6th, right? June.
That's right.
Wait, no.
June 6th. So, we're definitely gonna take a look and see. Otherwise, I was gonna throw in a couple of stories about the Lakers, but we are against it. So we can get and cut it a bit short here, unless you had something left on your plate, and then we'll go ahead and do an update later this week. Brittany Griner makes her WNBA debut, gets 2 monster dunks, so her team loses or whatever, but we'll see what type of impact she has. I'm pretty sure he's gonna revolutionize the WNBA. But have we digressed about talking about what WNBA? Are we really to that point where we're talking about the WNBA? I thought it was impressive But I don't really, at the end of the day, I really don't think it's worth mentioning because, first of all, she wasn't the first player to do it. Second,
right.
Second, as far as women players go, she's got a long way to go before she's Cheryl Swoops or, Tina Thompson or, Cooper or, even Lisa Leslie, who happens to be the first woman I ever saw dunk. So,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'll reserve my Cheryl Miller, judgment, which, overall Cheryl Miller's probably the best woman basketball player I've ever seen. I think she could have played in the men's league, if you want to be honest about it. And so, but yeah, Griner, no doubt. I don't understand the unfair criticism of her. I know she recently just came out about her, being gay and whatnot and all that. And, I still I don't understand it. Anything I think that's, it kind of makes you wonder sometimes, man, when women take a step like that in sports and they take a huge leap forward like that, and the WNBA, here it is, 15, 16, 18 years later, and it's still here, a league that nobody thought would survive. Who's throwing rocks at that? You know what I'm saying? Like, who's shooting holes in that? It's like, because we know it ain't women, that want that door kick, that proverbial door kicked in. Women that want that success and that type of, being able to enjoy a league of their own. We know it ain't women that's doing it out there like that. Who is this? So that in itself is an interesting kind of phenomenon. Whenever you see somebody take a huge leap forward like that, you always got these naysayers. And I'm not talking about the Jason Collins thing because, again, my personal thoughts on that was that's his decision, that's his deal, really doesn't have anything to do with the NBA. I'd have to see the context of the interview, how it was even brought up. Maybe it was something that he wanted to do, and, whatever. That's his business. But I'm talking about the advancement of a women's league, which I think in general is good for sports, because a lot of women out there play basketball and they'll never see the chance. And to have somebody like Brittany Griner out there doing it, and then, you got people out there trying to take a dump on that. Say it with your chest, man. Say it with your chest, because I tell you, you say it loud, somebody's going to shut it down because it's not right. It's not fair and it's not right. It's a women's league. Sure, I'm not going to watch WNBA. I'm not a big WNBA fan at all. But at least I can recognize game and appreciate what they do. So, that's just my 2 cents worth on the real side. So again, I wasn't saying we digressed about talking about Duncan. I was just thinking the dunk itself was no big deal. But I think that her impact on the game is a huge deal. All right. So, with that said, man, we'll go ahead and shut the doors one more again. And I will definitely call you later on in the week. We'll have an update, more NBA, obviously. We'll be one step closer to Miami Heat or Indiana deciding this thing. Have some more baseball updates, which we didn't get to this week, some local stuff. And also some insight stories. We're going to plug into the net, see what we can find, see what's going on with Lakers talk, man, because I'm really hoping that the Lakers make a decision. I'm hearing Dwight's intrigued by Houston, and he's intrigued by this team and that team, and intrigue on, brother. Intrigue on. You know what I'm saying? Intrigue on, because, this is the city of champions, and, you want to make commercials and stuff. So, that's my 2 cents on it. So, anyway, but it's always good to talk to you, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate the knowledge. You always give me a different angle, something I listen to you say and approach and look at it from a different side of it. Stace Dizzle, you need to call me. You need to get at me, Playboy. I ain't seen you since Moses was in high school, so give me a call, man. Appreciate you. Also, next week, didn't you say you were going to a game coming up here soon, or?
Next Wednesday I'm supposed to go to Cubs and Angels game.
Nice. Okay. All right. Yeah. Have you call in from the game or something? I'm just kidding. Anyway, All right, man. It's your boys from Table 5. Comments, ideas, tips, recipes, gardening tips, because I know you hear the wind out here. Your boys out here gardening, big hat on and whatnot. So, remote locations. Gardening is good stress relief, man. Try it sometime. All right, Adam, man. I'll talk to you next week.
School is out.